Good morning again, and welcome to yet another insane edition of Paradigm Shift and Educational Comedy. I am Dave Kelso, and I was just watching this video, Tom Kai-Pacha Lesher, redefining the masculine and feminine for a new paradigm. You can go ahead and Google search that. The YouTube channel that this is on is the Spiritual Playboy YouTube channel. But anyway, as I was watching this and he was giving his little esoteric lecture, I was really thinking about how, like, regardless of his esoterics, it was really meshing well with geopolitics, just kind of like melding everything together in some really interesting ways. And one thing that it got me thinking about, it's like, wait a minute. Well, the matriarchy, by the way, he was describing, the feminine energy, masculine energy, and all that. And by the way, this stream is going to be more esoteric than geopolitical. So people who don't really care much for any esoterics at all should probably tune out, because it's probably going to trigger you, because geopolitical people, conservative or liberal, it's like trigger train. So yeah, just a warning. If you don't heed the warning, that's on you. Anyway, so I posted this in a Facebook status. The matriarchy gave us communism and the patriarchy gave us fascism. However, the matriarchy also gave us compassion and the patriarchy also gave us sovereignty. So integrate, learn, and evolve. And one of the concepts that was also brought up by Kai-Pacha Lesher. There's actually quite a few concepts that were brought up by Kai-Pacha Lesher. It's like basically the main reason that, like, these connections are kind of connecting in my mind here. My mind is kind of still processing, but I still wanted to make this video now anyway. Otherwise, I might get distracted later and whatever. So yeah, I'm tired and kind of going at this in squirrel brain. But anyway, that like 4 out of 5 people or 3 out of 4 people or whatever it is, some ratio to that effect, are basically kind of more of the herd mind. That's what he called it. That they're looking for an authority to bow to, which is why there's also all this controversy about like fake news and all that, because it's really honestly not a matter of what is or isn't fake news, because any news from any source is going to be biased by default of coming out of the mouth and brain of a human. It's really the idea of, do you want to be a sheep and blindly follow, or do you want to be an individual and, be sovereign and, think critically and think for yourself? And what I've noticed is that because the planet, humanity, has been locked into this herd mind for so freaking long, that no matter how many liberals or conservatives claim, oh, I'm awake, I'm critical thinking, I'm awake, they're still looking for mentors, they're still looking for gurus, they're still looking for saviors. Oh, Hillary will save us, Obama will save us, Trump will save us. Oh, CNN didn't save us, maybe InfoWars will save us. Oh, I don't like what they said, that's fake news, I'm going to go and blindly believe this real news like a sheep. It's like everything is so interestingly convoluted, and it's like, it seems like humanity is spiraling towards this this process of integration, the integration of the masculine and feminine, whereas neither side wants to fucking integrate. And what I mean by integration of the masculine and feminine, let me define that a bit. You could say the masculine is more conservative, wants everything done simple, wants everything done now. Hand me the remote control, hit the button. There's a problem, let's fix it. 1, 2, 3, done. and we have to abide by this, the set of rules and policies and protocols and da 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 da. And the feminine is more like, well, the hell with all that. Let's dance around the campfire and sing kumbaya and give everybody a hug and da 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 da. But of course, the problem with both, the individualism versus collectivism, because conservatives are individualists and liberals are collectivists, let's call that shit what it is that in order for a collective to be functional, it has to be acknowledged that a collective is made up of individuals. And so individuals must cooperate within a functional collective. Otherwise, you get a dysfunctional collective. And if you try to go full hardcore individualism, what you end up with is totalitarianism, because then you've got a small set of individuals or one individuals, a dictator, a group of elites, top 1%, whatever. You've got these people saying, I'm an individual, but I know it's best for everybody. So my rules, my way or the highway. And I think that fascism is more about, I don't want you to conform. I just want to punish you if I don't like you. You don't like being in that concentration camp. Off to the camp, off to the gulag, off to the jail. Whereas communism is more like, love your prison, love your servitude. You need to love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And if you don't love it, we're going to make you love it. You're going to love it or else. You know what I mean? So it's like, the collectivists and the fascists, they're the communist, fascists, collectivists, individualists, whatever you want to call it, they're both about they both love them their fucking prisons, right? But they have two different takes on it. And in the past, I would have great difficulty really seeing the difference between fascism and communism. I mean, you look at history, they both all lead to the same human rights violations and atrocities. So it's like, what then? There's the difference. And it's like, oh, fascism is masculine, communism is feminine. It's kind of like the whole, imagine it on a simpler level, like mom and dad, right? You've got mom who's all smothering, and you've got dad who's all authoritative. Mom wants you to lovingly and willfully conform to these strange abstractions. And daddy is Zig Heil. Here is a list of 10 rules. You must not violate these rules in any way, shape, or form. Period. Strict, rigid orthodoxy. I don't want you to love your prison. I want you to fear me, because if you fear me, there is order. And where there is order, there is efficiency, and there is logic, and there is structure, and there is this, So then, of course, both sides are within the herd mentality, right? Those that want to be led, those that want to lead, all this shit. Then you've got that 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, call them spiritual integrators, call them centrists, call them what you will. These are the ones that are like, Mom, Dad, thank you for teaching me all that you've taught me, but this child has grown up, and I want to integrate the lessons that you both taught me to become a better human. Dad says, no, no, no. Patriarchy, my way, roar, fuck your mom. I did, ha ha ha. So it's like, no, it's like, then the freaking, the feminine side's like, no, no, no. Masculinity, bad. Fascism, bad. Patriarchy, bad. You must conform to the love and the light of the smothering communism, So it's just like, it's the classic, like struggle for power between the husband and the wife over the kid, you know, the mother and the father, the just, you know, it's like anybody who is even the slightest bit esoteric and can zoom out a little bit can like see the cluster fucking fractal before us. It's like, holy shit, the clarity is blinding. It makes you want to bang your head up against the fucking wall, because it's like that you know, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 that is done with the herd mind shit, where it's like, thank you, but fuck you both. You know what I mean? That's done with it. It's like, this whole integration thing, this whole centrism thing, whatever you want to call it, it's a very new phenomenon. And us integrators, us centrists, us people that are neither light workers nor shadow workers, and at the same time we're both, because we're trying to fucking integrate. We're trying to integrate the abstract and the structured. We're, you know, trying to bring everything together into one painting instead of saying the paints have to remain off the canvas. That's, you can't have the painting. It's impossible. You're delusional. Go away. You know, so it's like there's this, you know, 25% or less part of the population that is moving into this integration, the centrism, whatever. And we're new at this. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. It's all trial and error, man. We're just like, you know, rolling with synchronicity, playing by ear, and doing the best we can, looking out at the world and going, holy shit, it's gone to fuck. You know, it's gone bad shit. It's crazy. You've got masculine, feminine, left, right. You know, you've got all of this mounting. The energies, or the bell-shaped curve, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, the singularity, whatever buzzwords. You know, we're on this accelerated high-speed train, and I think humanity as a whole is on a high-speed train through a tunnel into a better world, but there's a large part of humanity that I think is on a high-speed train into a brick wall, because they're just never going to integrate this shit. They're, you know, they're going to they're just going to want to do this whole no, my way or the highway thing until it like literally kills them. Now, I'm hoping that maybe possibly, and maybe it requires something as extreme as, oh my God, is Trump going to send us into war with Russia? What the fuck? Maybe it takes that big of a mallet to the head of the left and the right to get them to realize, you know, maybe this whole integration thing might not be such a bad idea, because it sure as hell beats annihilation. You know, so it's like, it's a real crazy clusterfuck. And you know, I've just been seeing the fractal of this on the individual level and the collective level. I've seen the patriarchal attitudes that are every bit as snowflakey as the left. I'm sorry, the conservative. I'm a centrist. The conservatives and the liberals are both fucking snowflakey. It is just a different type of snowflakey. The liberal snowflakey is, oh my God, you violated my safe space. And by the way, there are 4,365,274 genders. And if you don't agree with me, you're a bigot. That's, you know, that's a liberal way of being snowflakey. The conservative way is bow to me. I have my strict set of rules. And if you do not absolutely conform with impunity, then you're a terrible person. You're terrible, terrible person. So, and to me, it's just like, you know, if you really want to look at it, like all the jihadism shit, you know, if you want to look at Islam or whatever, is like, it's conservatism gone off the rails. You know what I mean? It's this you know, it's conservatism gone crazy train. And so that's the Islam. And Christianity is liberalism gone off the crazy train. The difference right now is that Wall Street isn't funding Christian cults to go like do false flags and murder people and shit. Um, so obviously, you know, it's just it's a clusterfuck, man. And just like, like you zoom out and you can see it, but it's still it still boggles the mind. I mean, most of us really, myself included, have difficulty trying to structure this into sentences and paragraphs and expressions that make any kind of uniform sense in an explanation. And it's understandable as to why, because look at how chaotic and all over the place this world is. How do you structure chaos in an explanation? Like, is that even a thing? It's like, how do you go about doing that? I don't really think you can. So I think that these sorts of topics, these sorts of conversations definitely are kind of like, they're kind of in the ether. They're all over the place. They're a bit wishy-washy and convoluted and backy-forthy, like water or air, because it's really, really difficult right now for anybody to pin this down into any sort of an organized structure. Especially, again, look, you're trying to integrate the masculine and the feminine, the left and the right, the light and the dark, um, liberalism and conservatism, whatever you want to call it. Trying to do that through the mechanism of esoteric integration or centrism or whatever you want to call that. It's really difficult because, again, you're trying to bring opposites together, and of course, in nature, in harmony, opposites are fine. You've got up, down, left, right. They're not fighting. The left side of your body and the left side of your body aren't at war. You don't have the ceiling and the floor trying to struggle in a battle for supremacy. So um, obviously in a more natural and harmonious way, opposites are all good, and they are just opposite ends of a range that has all sorts of stuff between it. Kind of like the space between an origin point and a destination when you're taking a trip. The journey is valid, so it's all good. But when you're looking at this tomfuckery chaos that the world is in, because you've got 3 out of 4 people or 4 out of 5 people, whatever it is, that still wants the herd mind. It's time to integrate, but they want the herd mind, and it doesn't work. And so there's all these collisions. You've got masculine, the feminine, the left and the right, the communists and the fascists, Antifa, whatever, the alt right, the alt left. It's all on the rise. Fast and dirty. It's all on the rise. And coming into these crazy collisions. Because 3 out of 4 people would rather die than integrate. I mean, that's the way it is right now. That's why things are so nuts. And those of us that would rather integrate than self-destruct are looking at the rest of the world like, damn, y'all crazy. And then the rest of the world thinks we're nuts for refusing to conform. Although I think an even greater irony is that, like, if you really look deep at it, I don't think either side really wants conformity from the other side. Like, both sides are shaking their fists in a rage. Like, everything is so peaked that, like, let me give you an example. If you try to have a conversation with what one might coin an SJW or a leftist, Social justice warrior. They try to say that they want everybody to conform to what they want, tear down these statues, put up these things, use the right pronoun, bow to feminism, whatever, They act like they want conformity, but really they don't. I mean, they don't to the point that they even eat their own. It's like, because the second anybody even tries to conform, they have this strong desire to rage against nonconformity that they won't even accept conformity. They've already made up their mind that everyone is a nonconformist, even among their own ranks. So therefore, when anybody tries to conform, they just won't have it. They're like, no, you're the enemy. I'm going to destroy you. You're white privilege. You couldn't possibly conform. You're fucking a white male. You couldn't possibly conform. You're an enemy to be destroyed. I just want you to know your place before I destroy you. Like, that's the attitude there. So, and then of course on the alt-right, it's like the same thing. It's like, and even just regular conservatives. It's like conservatives might make videos and stuff that might be titled something thereof. Look, leftists, you need to embrace logic. You need to embrace reality. You need to embrace sanity. You're literally at a war against reality. You're literally at a war against sanity. You're literally at a war against science and logic. Come on, lefties, you need to get it together. Even when they say that, that's not really what they mean. What they mean is, we've already pegged you as the enemy, and we just want you to know how illogical and stupid you are before we destroy you. And like, that's where things are at. I mean, seriously, it's like, I think that if a conservative really believes that they want the left to understand and conform to what a conservative views as logic and reality, they're deluding themselves and lying to themselves just as much as the SJWs. Neither side wants the other to understand and conform. They both just want to destroy each other. Plain and simple. They want conflict. They want war. And that's also why we're seeing what we're seeing on the geopolitical stage. I mean, look at it. I mean, nobody wants a nuclear war. Nobody wants mutually assured destruction. That's, neither side wants to commit suicide. Neither side also realizes they're being self-destructive and committing suicide anyway. That's besides the point. But at least on the conscious level, neither side wants suicide. Neither side wants mutually assured destruction. But they do want destruction of their perceived enemy. And they will settle for nothing less. So we're seeing that play out on the individual level between individual humans. I'm not going to go into details, but I am currently in that sort of a situation with some conservatives myself, being a centrist. I do not rub conservatives or liberals the right way. I really don't. And, within, centrist circles, which I really wish there were more of, we're such a damn minority. You want to talk about discrimination against minorities? Let's talk about centrists. We're such a minority, and, we're still trying to figure out how to find each other and get together and organize, while adrift in a sea of left-right dichotomy, a sea of conservative, liberal chaos. So it's like, I'm not going to claim that centrists have it all together, that, we have the holy fucking grail of anything. We're just trying to fucking figure shit out, because we're just looking at this whole situation. It's tomfuckery, and we're not organized. We don't know what the hell we're doing. We're still figuring that out. So At least we can admit that. That's another way that you know you're talking to a freaking centrist. Conservative will be like, I have the Holy Grail. Liberal will be like, I have the Holy Grail. Centrist will be like, I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck I'm even doing. That's how you can tell the difference. Centrists have at least some levels of humility, while also trying to learn how to be sovereign, trying to learn how to stand up to the bullies of both the left and the right, you know, while simultaneously trying to integrate the valuable lessons that both the left and the right have to offer. Let's face it, there's wisdom in the left, and there's wisdom in the right, and there's foolishness in the left, and there's foolishness in the right. And those of us who deem ourselves as centrist integrators or whatever, we're trying to figure out how to pan the nuggets of gold out of the mud. And we're not masters at it yet. Good Lord, no. We're still learning. It's still chaos. We're still like baby learning how to walk, and we're doing a lot of hardcore falling. But we'll get it eventually. But yeah, it's crazy. But just the way Kaipasha Letcher in Redefining the Masculine, the Feminine for a New Paradigm, the way he describes it, it's like it aligns perfectly with geopolitics. And just to look at this amazing fractal that reality is, it is so clear, whether you're talking about the Fibonacci sequence, the golden mean ratio, or you're talking about geopolitics and the way humans interact with each other individually and collectively, or you're talking about how the atomic and subatomic levels mirror and are a fractal of the regular surface level reality, which is a fractal of going into solar systems and galaxies and so on and so forth. And sorry, flat earthers, you're allowed your opinion, but I'm not buying it. And the reason I'm not buying it isn't because NASA told me to believe in a globe Earth. It's because I know how to look at fractals. Yeah. So I make up my own mind about shit. It's not because, NASA told me I should obey. No, it's because I'm looking at reality being a fractal. I see fractals everywhere. And I can't deny the fractals. So I'm just going by my insight. So in viewing the fractal, the Earth is round. Technically, all of reality is a non-physical hologram. But as far as this 3D linear time structure, the Earth is round. And it's not because NASA said so. It's because I'm looking at fractals every fucking place. And I'm like, well, shit. That just kind of makes sense. Round. Yeah. So anyway, we live in very interesting times. And even before the beginning of this year, when I pegged 2018 as Year of Darkness, holy fucking shit, I had no idea. I couldn't have even begun to imagine the levels of tomfuckery in which we get to practice shining our light. Holy crap. So, in these crazy, perilous times, I'm going to end with the following bit of advice. Have concern, not worry. Be brave, not dominated by fear. Be angry, but remain compassionate. Be sovereign, but not at the expense of the sovereignty of others. Stand your ground in the face of others, but do not try to dominate them. Be loving, but not naive. Because there is a sucker born every minute, let me tell you. Alrighty. No, that's all of us, by the way. So yeah, I'm about done on that. I'm just awestruck by the utter tomfuckery that this planet has become. It's an interesting adventure. And if we survive past the 15th of April, I'm sure there's more exciting, interesting, fascinating, intriguing shit that's going to be happening. And just, wow, we really do live in historic times. So I'll end it on that note.